Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Matt and I do like video games, and in today's video we got to talk a little bit about PlayStation's latest state of play, because I have been down on PlayStation recently and a lot of you might know that. I've made some videos here and there on PlayStation. This is mostly an Xbox centric channel, but I make videos on PlayStation whenever I feel necessary. And I've talked about how I've been down on PlayStation recently, especially with their last few showcases. It just kind of felt pretty subpar to me, but I feel like, well, if I can talk about those subpar showcases, it's only right I talk about this one, because this one was actually really, really good in my opinion. So we're going to be talking all about it in today's video, so let's get into it. So for those of you who might be out of the loop, PlayStation did show off their latest state of play this past Wednesday to end the month of January. And like I said in the intro, it was pretty damn good. We're going to be talking about the things, the highlights for me personally. First game I want to talk about is Stellar Blade. And this game is pretty interesting because it was a game that I really, up to this point, haven't been that interested in. I mean, it's always looked, relatively cool, but it's never really had my attention. And in this showcase, not only did it get my attention, it ended up being probably one of my favorite things shown at the showcase. I still don't know if it's a day one for me. I do have questions about it. And I was talking with my buddy Ham Solo on his show. He did a recap of the show on Wednesday night. Go over on TSWS Gaming, check that out. It was a pretty good conversation that we had about everything to do with the showcase. And he asked me what game this reminded me of, and it took me a while to answer that, because when he first asked me, I said, I don't know, honestly. I don't know a game that it reminds me of. And then I started thinking about it a little bit more, and it reminds me a little bit of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. And I've only played a small amount of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, but this game definitely does give me those vibes. It seems, the boss battles seem like these big, huge, obnoxious bosses. Swordplay looks really, really cool, and swordplay in Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is really, really cool. And it just looks like it's going to be a pretty fun time altogether. My only question with this game is I wonder if it's open world, or if it's like, hub area open world, or if it's more linear, because it seems from watching this trailer there's two main places. There's this city that's under the wasteland, and then there's the wasteland above the city. And I'm wondering if the wasteland's open world, because the city looks pretty open. And I mean, it would lead me to believe that it is an open world game, but we will find out relatively soon, I would imagine, because this game does come out in April. I believe it was like April 26th was the date they gave. So definitely looking forward to seeing more on this game, and it definitely is on my radar now. Now, up next, the game I want to talk about is Silent Hill 2. And I've seen a lot of discourse about Silent Hill 2 on the timeline on Twitter since this showing on Wednesday. And like when I first initially watched this showing for Silent Hill 2, I was like, that looks really, really good. And I heard people who were kind of saying, Alan Wake 2 reminded them of Silent Hill. And I was thinking, well, if Silent Hill is anything like Alan Wake 2, then I'll probably love Silent Hill, right? They started showing this. They started showing the combat and everything. And I was like, this looks awesome. This looks like a mix of Alan Wake 2 meets Resident Evil. I'm sold. This looks amazing. And I went to go check Twitter and see what people were saying, because I was watching it live with everyone else, and I was seeing people say, that it looks kind of mid. I saw people saying that the character models didn't look so good, and I will agree. The character models, listen, I feel like the character models kind of suffer because of how the game itself looks. It looks like a very washed out kind of experience, and I feel like that's an intentional choice by the artists who are making the game. So I don't hold it against the game, and like it does say at the end of the trailer, it's still in development. It's still very much a game that is being worked on. So I imagine, with time, visuals will get better and everything, but as far as the gameplay, I really, really loved what I saw from this. Like I said, Alan Wake 2 vibes with Resident Evil Remake vibes. Looks like it's going to be a very fun time. Again, another game wasn't really on my radar. I don't have ties to Silent Hill. I didn't grow up playing it. I didn't get into horror games really until this generation. So I'm definitely hyped. I mean, I'm hyped to check out Silent Hill 2 for the first time ever, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty awesome game. Let me know in the comments what you think about what you saw from Silent Hill 2. And up next is Judas. And I've been hyped for Judas for a while. From the original creators of BioShock, you just saw it there on the screen for a second. This game looks incredible. And one thing that stuck out to me from both of the trailers that they showed, because they've shown 2 trailers for this game so far, both trailers, the music fits the vibe of the trailer perfectly. It's really good music choice. And I mean, they absolutely nailed it again with this trailer. It's from the creators of BioShock, and watching the gameplay, you can certainly tell it's very BioShock influenced. You know, you got a gun in this hand, you got powers in this hand, and it looks awesome. It looks like a modern BioShock, and that's exactly what I was hoping for when they first showed off this game. The only thing that has me a little bit bummed, and I'm not really too bummed or anything, it's kind of expected, I suppose, is that we didn't get a release date for it. I don't even think we got a release window. I was expecting to see 2025 for this, and I don't even think we got that from this. And here you can see Judas wishlist now. It says in development for PS5, but in case you didn't know, Xbox did tweet out, this is coming to Xbox, it's coming to PC, it's coming to PS5, it's coming everywhere, okay? So you don't got to worry about that. I'm really looking forward to seeing more on this. I'm hoping we get this in 2025. Maybe it's just too early for them to say, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. And now we gotta talk about Dragon's Dogma 2. This game is one of my most anticipated games of the year. Avowed is number 1 for me, but Dragon's Dogma 2 is firmly in second place. And I cannot wait to play this game. And it does come out fairly soon, March 22nd, just a few days after my birthday, mind you. So I'm definitely going to be treating myself to this game for my birthday. But everything we see from this game, every time they show it, it just looks better and better, and there's not many games that do that when they're showing off their game, where it looks better and better each time. It usually looks a little bit worse each time, but every time we see this game, it looks special. The combat looks really diverse. Bow and arrow, sword and shield. Obviously, you got magic. There's a clip coming up here in a second. Where's it at? Right there, where this guy uses an ice spell. He jumps off the ice that he just summoned, pulls out a sword, and slashes at that thing right on its head, and this just looks so sick. The verticality in the fighting looks awesome too, because if you didn't play the first Dragon's Dogma, one of the main things, or one of the really cool mechanics in the fights in that game, was that you could jump onto the enemy and slash at them with your sword and shield or whatever, and that looks like it's very much still in play in this game. I'm really looking forward to this game. It's gonna be awesome. Probably going to be my pick for Game of the Year. As much as I'm anticipating Avowed is my number 1 most anticipated game, I don't think Avowed's going to win Game of the Year. I do think Dragon's Dogma 2 might win Game of the Year, though, for sure. If it turns out to be as hot as it looks, that game has a real shot to win Game of the Year. And now we got Rise of the Ronin. I'm going to keep this one brief, and it's no disrespect to Rise of the Ronin. It's just, the problem with Rise of the Ronin for me is that it comes out the exact same day as Dragon's Dogma 2. March 22nd, 2024. And if you're going to make me choose between Dragon's Dogma 2 and Rise of the Ronin, I do apologize, Rise of the Ronin. It's going to be Dragon's Dogma 2 all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. I am definitely hyped to see, more on the game and everything. I'm excited to check it out. It's just not a day one for me. I can't justify buying 2 pretty big RPGs on the exact same day. I can't justify that, especially when I know which one I'm going to be playing more, and that is Dragon's Dogma 2. And finally, we've got to talk about Death Stranding 2. And the thing that I wanted to see most from this showcase was Death Stranding 2. When Death Stranding 2 came out, I was one of those guys who was on the bandwagon of like, oh, it's a walking sim, it's trash, it's garbage, nobody cares. And then I played it. And I was like, this is one of the coolest experiences I've ever had in a video game. I really, really was hoping we would see Death Stranding 2 at this showcase, and Kojima delivered. He gave us probably the coolest video game trailer I've maybe ever seen. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, there's been a lot of really great trailers in history, but this trailer was just so off the wall. It was so perfectly Kojima. I played Death Stranding 1. I haven't beat it. I played like 90% of it. I'm replaying it now to beat it. But even playing about 90% of the first game, I have no fucking idea what's going on in this trailer. I don't know what is what. It's just confusing, and that's very Kojima to me. You get to this part where Troy Baker pops out, he pulls out a guitar and he starts shooting lightning out of his guitar. But like, I don't know what's going on in Kojima's mind, but it needs studied. I cannot wait for it. They didn't give a date. I was a little bit disappointed we didn't get a date for it, but we did get a release window of 2025. So, you know, looking forward to playing this next year. And I will say, I mean, just from a raw fidelity standpoint, they're definitely going for a photorealism look, and it's certainly paying off. And this is where the trailer right here just gets fucking... Look at him, he's shooting electric out of his guitar. This guy's just cutting people in half. I don't know what's going on in this game, but it just looks sick. It definitely looks more action-oriented than the original Death Stranding. The original Death Stranding, for as much as people clowned on it for just being a walking sim, it did have some action in it. You could definitely get into some fights. There were weapons in the game. But this looks like a step up. This looks like a whole different level of action for this game. And I'm really, really excited about that. But that wasn't all the Kojima we got. Because after they announced showed Death Stranding 2, Kojima came out and said he was working on a brand new IP. An action espionage IP with PlayStation. And that is ridiculous. I don't know where this guy is getting all the time to do this. He's working on Death Stranding 2. Now this action espionage IP, and then he's got the OD game for Xbox. I don't know, like, is this guy a clone? Does he have multiples of himself out there working? Because it's honestly just impressive. And at this point, I've always joked around about not liking Kojima. I mean, the original Metal Gear Solid games were not for me. I do enjoy Metal Gear Solid 5. I do enjoy Metal Gear Solid 4 because the gameplay is there for me to enjoy it. But I'll tell you what, with Death Stranding 1, Death Stranding 2, this action espionage game coming to PlayStation at some point in the future, and then OD over on Xbox, between all of those projects, he might have a new fan. I might be a new fan of Kojima because it's honestly impressive how much he's doing right now. And the dude's like 60 years old. He doesn't gotta do this. He could retire if he wants to. He's like 60 years old working on 3 different projects. You can tell he just loves what he's doing, and that's awesome. Very, very happy for him. I cannot wait to play Death Stranding 2. I cannot wait to see what the action espionage IP is, and I cannot wait to play OD on Xbox. And what's really crazy, I forget who said this. It was one of my buddies who said this, that he's giving you reasons to buy both platforms. Kojima's just sitting back. Sony and Microsoft are kind of fighting with each other, right? They're kind of feuding a little bit. But Kojima's just sat back, raking in the money and giving you reasons to buy a PlayStation and giving you reasons to buy an Xbox. So props to Kojima, playing both of them. He's a very smart man. Props to him. I can't wait to play his games. This was a really, really awesome showcase. If I had to give it a number grade out of 10, we're probably going to go 8.5. I was feeling 8.5 after the show. I'm still feeling 8.5. Look, it wasn't a 10 out of 10. I feel like in order to get out a 10 out of 10, every single game needs to hit. And there were a good amount of games in there that didn't hit for me. But it had enough in there for me to go, that was an awesome showcase. Definitely a huge step up from their past showcases. So going forward, I hope we can kind of expect this level of excitement from Sony. Hopefully we get, a first party state of play sometime this year. I would really be looking forward to that. But this was an awesome showcase. Leave in the comments down below how you guys felt about the showcase. What do you guys give it out of 10? I know, like I said, 8.5 for me, but leave that in the comments down below. Leave a like if you like the video, and if you're enjoying this kind of content and you want to stay up to date with it going forward over here on the channel, the best way to do that is consider subscribing, consider ringing that notification bell, because that helps you stay up to date with everything that happens over here on the channel, and it helps promote me in the algorithm, helps push the videos out to way more people, and I always appreciate that. And with that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.